Hello and welcome back to another one of my very spooky Sims 4 building videos, and it's only spooky because it's a Halloween house. It's much like last year, where I've just been forced into doing a Halloween related house because of peer pressure, and also the fact that the Sims 4 spooky stuff came out, which I use primarily in this house. So watching this video, you may notice that this house is sort of like the one that I did last year in The Sims 3 for Halloween, in the fact that it's sort of like a crooked mansion house cabin thing, very tall and got pointy roofs and stuff, and mismatched walls when I paint the walls. I was noticing that when I was building it, but I really like that style because I think it looks quite creepy and very gothic, in the sort of creepy sense of the word gothic, so I continued to go with that theme. But then when I wanted to use more of the spooky item, because I thought they're more spooky or spoopy instead of actually haunting and scary, so I decided to turn this into a nightclub where you've sort of got the experience of going to a haunted house, and there are some rooms that feel just a tiny bit creepy and off-putting, and then there are some rooms that have like party objects in, and where your Sims can have a good time, and you'll see that in the photos later. So this is a public lot, and other Sims can come and visit it. Putting a fence around the lot here, I thought the chain linked quite well. I have no idea what I'm saying. I think that the chain link fences works quite well on this build, sort of like trying to keep people out from the house, but they've sort of fallen down over time and they're just small fences. It's really a mismatch of fences and things around the house, much like the house itself. You can see there are different wall textures all around it. Putting in the windows now, there were no windows that actually looked good, so I just went for the ones that fits the best, so which were these windows with the shutters, and I put them to the darkest tone possible, and still they looked a little bit out of place, but from afar they don't look that bad, so I'm alright with that. Now I'm going on to the floor plan here. I wanted sort of very basic rooms, and I didn't want to necessarily get every room in there. So there is a living room, there is a kitchen, there's no dining room, but that's sort of something that I was sort of happy to forsake for this house, because I think the end product was quite nice overall. So putting a basement in there at the bottom of the house, just because I thought every haunted house needs a haunted basement. Eventually, though, that becomes the main spooky party room. And something that I did with a couple of the rooms in this house was I used the it was the animated wall texture that you get in The Sims 4 Spa Day, because it was an animated texture and it looks kind of creepy the way that the wall pulsates, and I used the similar floor. You can see me putting it onto the walls around the house, and I just thought that worked quite well as the party rooms, and just something slightly unnerving. So you can see me putting in the wall textures all around the house, and moving on to the furnishing here. So I'm using lots of the very old sort of seats, or the antique style seats around the house, putting in chessboard and some other things that I think worked, and just using some of the spooky decorations around the house to make it look sort of more old and ancient and offsetting. So I put some cobwebs around the place and some spiders, and just using a lot of the really sort of ornate style pieces of furniture around the house. You can see I've done the kitchen there. There's a whole stack of ovens because I thought that was quite that worked quite well and looked kind of creepy, sort of like the witch baking Hansel and or Gretel in that fairy tale, so I was quite happy with that. And resizing the carpets in this house now, because I think this is the first house that I've done where we've been able to resize the carpets, so I made use of that around the house, put the grated floor carpet that came with Get to Work in the bathroom, and that looks quite good. So I'm doing the party room here downstairs, a real sort of advantage or chance to use the Sims 4 spooky stuff pack items, putting in the pumpkin carving station around the place, and some other things as well as some ghosts and teddy bears and lights. Moving upstairs, I can't remember oh yes I can. So I've got the master bedroom here. It hasn't got an ensuite. There are only 2 bathrooms in this house if I'm correct, but it's fine. Just doing some more ornate things like the mirrors wrap around don't know, maybe you could see some creepy things in them if this was a horror movie. And then I was proud of this room here. I decided to do an art studio, because I thought a lot of old haunted houses seem to have art studios in them for some reason. So I put in a couple of things here, and lots of stuff that, I don't know, you could craft on or paint, and just things that looked maybe slightly bit out of place in the fact that there were lots of human mannequins around there and place, and even that skeleton, even that skeleton, I can't, is it skeleton? Yeah, it's a skeleton, that's the word. God, I forget how to speak when I'm doing this. So even that skeleton there, and just added a nice effect. In that bathroom there, I put some candles all around the floor, maybe like a seance style room, and just another thing to make it feel slightly off. Here's another party room. This room is hidden. You can only get to it through some bookshelves in the wall, so that's how your Sims can discover that. And then just another small bedroom here. And I suppose as there are beds on this lot, your Sims could come to the club here and then crash in one of the haunted rooms upstairs. This one was more of a fun room, sort of like a child's haunted room. That's why it's got the wallpapers in there, because I still wanted to use them too. Just doing some other stuff up here, like bookcases, and then a door into a room that's just going to be purely the white and or the white fluctuating walls and floor, and I'm just going to put some ghost props up there, just sort of floating about, looking quite creepy, sort of like a ghost party or ghost party in the attic. And I was really proud of that idea that I came up with. And finally here in the loft I had no idea what to do, so I just sized up some of the spookier things and put them up here, sort of maybe like a boss fights that you'd get in a video game. And then I think coming on to the screenshots finally right here at the end of the video, you can see what some of the rooms turned out like, with Sims wandering around them on the spooky nightclub lot. So I don't think I mentioned that this lot is a nightclub, and it is called Midnight, because I thought it was quite a funny plan. I was going to call it Midnight Club, but that just seemed a bit too far, so I just ended up calling it Midnight, and it's a nice little touch. Built it in Oasis Springs, and this sort of area of those Oasis Springs, because it looked quite run down and old, and I thought it fit in perfectly, sort of like a house out of place, but somehow still in place. So looking around the house here, you can see I put some snack bowls on the side, just an example of how I used the spooky stuff with some of the more ornate furniture to create a nice look. Here's the art studio I was telling you about, so I really like this room. It's got like this nice sort of old antique haunted house feel, and you may notice all these screenshots are taken at night time. I just thought that suited the vibe of Halloween, and also the fact that it's night time. So just going upstairs here, there's another ghost floating in the hallway. I think I actually placed him on the bottom floor of the house and then just raised him up to that level, because move objects on the cheat is really useful for doing a couple of details like this. And then just some shots of the upstairs of the house here. Here's the boss room, as I called it, at the top of the tower, and then here's the ghost party room with some of the cauldrons emitting light, just the ghosts having a nice time. Here's one of the party rooms with some Sims in, you can see just lots of decorations, and then here's the one in the basement. So these are the last couple of screenshots. I want to thank you all very much for watching, and have a very good Halloween.